Ladies and gentlemen, So What Morning Show back in the building. If you're just tuning in, today's topic, man, we're talking about the nuclear family. Is that the black communities, is that our savior? Should we start touting marriage? You know? Here's a great question. Should you have your casual sex partner's baby? If it's casual sex, are you having sex for pleasure or for family building? Or is that a necessary, is that just part of the risk?
That's a question to a female, yes.
To men and...
It's impossible for me to have my casual sex partner's baby. I don't have the plumbing.
But what if your casual sex partner has your baby against your will?
That's two questions. I'm saying that first question is aimed directly at ovaries.
Say it again.
That first question is aimed directly at ovaries. That has, should you have your casual sex partner's baby?
Because we want to have some solutions here. Is the black race the master at manufacturing socially dysfunctional male and female bastard? That hurts. Within the African American community.
I don't know if they're the masters, but they're really working on their master's degree, aren't they? They're working hard at it.
Within the African American community, are condoms and vasectomies a better solution to fatherlessness than is holy matrimony?
Absolutely. I think certain dudes, you should just walk right up on. There should be a gun. There should be a gun. And I should be able to give you a vasectomy right through your pants with this gun.
Wow.
Just put it on your thigh and now you're done. Just if you're sagging and you got gold in your mouth, okay. If you live at home with your mama and your rims cost more than your car, there you go.
Just castrate.
I ain't mad at you, but you don't deserve to
children.
Don't make another one of you.
Here you go. Should other races be included in this kind of discussion regarding the ills of black relationships, love, and family? Or is that considered talking about things in front of mixed company?
I don't care about other races. I have no concern.
We got a caller on the line. Let's get James Hanna Dog in the building. James Hanna.
What's up?
Speak to us about some of the issues, man.
Yeah, it's basically these fuck buddy babies are killing it for everybody. Going on, sitting at it. Women quit having babies. I think if you just stop it.
Do you think? But James, it sounds like you're blaming the women.
You know what?
I can barely hear.
Listen, yes.
I can't hear anything.
Yes.
And I hear music.
Okay, men are gonna screw with a condom or without a condom, but you let them screw it wrong. You let niggas do it because they love you. You have unprotected sex with niggas you know don't have a pill, bitch. You're the one who gets pregnant. Yes, I'm blaming the women. Yes.
Yeah.
Wow.
Absolutely.
So we're gonna go. The women are at fault here.
99%. Yes.
Yeah.
All right, fine. 95%. Yes.
In the words of Bill,
getting pregnant. It's our fault for what happens once the kid gets here.
It's in the words of Bill Cosby when he was talking about his kids. If my wife has any problem with how the kids turn out, you had it last.
Wow.
You had it. I gave it to you. You had it last.
But see, I think this is part of, part of the fuel that creates enmity between black men and women, because black women will say, you guys are always pointing at us. You're always saying it's our fault. But what culpability lies within the black man in this process?
Well, dude.
Here's what it is. Can I say this?
Yes, please.
Here's what it is. Black men have no incentive to treat you right, black women. You give us no incentive. The guys who get you wet are never the guys who's the best guy for you. Okay? We don't listen to what you say when you say you want good men. We listen to who you fuck.
Wow.
You can sit there and say, oh, I want a good man all day, but if the last 3 boyfriends were sack jeans wearing, white feet and wearing, Timberland wearing niggas, then you're full of it. You don't want good men, and this is the result. This is what's going on. You don't want good men, you want thugs, you want dogs, you want assholes, and you don't have enough sense to make them wear condoms. I'm not even saying that they shouldn't screw these guys. Make her wear condoms. Quit gambling with your vagina. Quit gambling with your ovary. Yes, I'm putting this on the women. They're the ones who had a baby. They're the ones who choose. No woman has ever gotten, outside of rape, no woman has ever gotten pregnant against her will.
Wow. That's an interesting angle. Geoff Brown?
Well, you kind of wet my firecracker, because that's exactly what I was going to say, is that no man chooses a woman. A woman makes the choice to be chosen. Okay? So with this, it's kind of the algebraic, the reciprocal of, I'm not going to settle. Well, it looks like a whole bunch of settling's been happening from what I'm seeing. Okay? You're not going to make a Doberman with a Shih Tzu and a Lhasa Apso. You're not. Okay? You want to make a purebred, you need to find a purebred. And I refuse to believe that there are no good dudes. Okay? If all what like these college educated sisters say, if all they wanted were the good dudes, then you know who would be getting screwed in college? The nerds and not the Qs.
Wow.
Okay? The Qs are getting screwed in college. Not the dude in the library. The dude that's at the frat party spiking the punch. That's the dude that's getting laid. So you're later for this bullshit that you want nice guys. I really don't believe that. Because if you did, nice guys would be the ones getting laid, and they're not. Not until, you put 100,000 miles on it, and now...
okay, well, let's do it. Yes, go ahead, James.
Can I break that down even further?
Yes.
Is men, this is what it is about men. This is why we got all these loose kids running around. Is women, they like dudes. They're the dude, no good dude is the dude they fuck the quickest and the most often. And that's the dude that gets the most of their body, the most of their time, the most of their soul, the most of everything. By the time the average black woman walks into a man, she's 38, 50 pounds overweight, and got two bastard kids running behind her. Now it's too late.
Yeah, your kids look like neighbors.
Too late. Yeah.
Now, here's another angle from Webby-Locks. There's an organization called Youth Mentoring Project that I have some involvement with, and what they do is they meet with gangbangers and young women from the inner city, and these people can talk about anything, including people they've killed. And it's all confidential. And they break them down into the men speaking about stuff, and so I've been in that group, and the women speaking about stuff. And when it gets to the women speaking about stuff, what half of them talk about, and they're 15 and 16, is all they want to have is a baby. So maybe, it's one thing to talk about the college education thing, but I think there's a huge number of inner city women who want to be loved. They're the role models of men who abandon their families. And I think the idea is, I'm going to have a baby to love me. And they don't really know about all the responsibilities. They're just so hungry to be loved and not abandoned. And it was just so sad to see their excitement. It's not even like, I want to get a good man. It's, I want to have a baby. And I think that's, we're kind of the intelligent side here, and we can talk about this, but I think there's a huge number of people that we need to help out. Oh yeah, who probably won't listen to this show because they're just so busy wanting to have a baby and just trying to get by.
Well, I'll give you that. Those are the groups of people we were discussing earlier. I see that's crazy nigga mentality that you just discussed, and I'm not saying that. What I am saying is it kind of all ties in. Spike Lee did it. When Spike Lee started making a whole bunch of money, he didn't move from Brooklyn. He stayed right where he was, so young black males and females could see that that's the dude that's making these Hollywood moves. That's the dude
in this neighborhood,
and he lives right here. Right. The people who think a certain way cannot wait to distance themselves physically from these people as if somehow they are not connected to you. I am saying we have to disconnect ourselves from them, not as you are not like me. You are like me, but you are sick. And I need you to realize your sickness. So some of y'all I ain't going to help.
So you're saying the only way it's going to work is if we quarantine The zombie niggas.
Absolutely. Oh my God. Absolutely.
Is that what it is?
The zombies. Yes, that's. Oh, okay. There we go. Ladies and gentlemen, on the So What Morning Show, hear ye, hear ye. The official term henceforth for niggas is zombies. That's beautiful. That is metaphorically perfect. Yes, I will call them zombies from now.
626-532-4772. James Hanna, you still on with us?
Yes, sir.
Okay, tell us.
Yeah, dude, it's just... Wait, sorry.
No. This is my question, because what I find is, I listened to Bill Cosby when he did the now famous pound cake speech. And I've listened to even, Bill O'Reilly when he went on this rant and this tangent after the Trayvon Martin verdict. And everybody points to two institutions. They either point to the institution of marriage, to combat fatherlessness, right? And all of these out-of-wedlock children. 70% of African-American, babies are born out of wedlock. And then they point towards marriage. They say, marriage and education. If you fully invested within marriage and education, then that would stabilize the black family. And the only problem that I have, and I'm going to ask you this, James Hanna, is why do we put so much emphasis on those two particular institutions, to right the ship, the relationship of the African American community, when those two institutions, in my opinion, have their own flaws and their own difficulties? Are we saying that's better than nothing? Is that not in itself what's the word you used earlier? Settling to a degree, just to say, okay, well, at least we're normal, at least we're like everyone else. Are those two institutions the best institution to fix black black relationships and black love? What do you think? Say again?
College degrees. They're the most ignorant bitches out of that have college degrees.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. My grandmama didn't have a college degree.
Exactly. My grandmama barely graduated high school.
Yep.
She kept a husband.
There you go. 4 to 6 years.
All 6 of her kids had the same daddy.
Wow.
So, it's not that. Black women, the college that's part of what messed up the family, is education.
Please, go deeper. Please expound.
Okay, here's the difference between a black girl and a white girl in college. A white girl is going to college to find a husband. A black girl is going to college to prove she don't need one.
Wow.
That's the difference. That's the difference. They want to go back women to programs that say they don't need a man. And then they wonder why they ain't got one. Like, dude, that's about education. That's great. And I wish everybody who wants to go to college can go to college. But if your priorities are fucked up, you just a person with a degree with fucked up priorities.
So you're telling me that black women use a college education to somewhat compete with black men?
No, to have to depend on them. To not have to depend on them because they're not dependable.
Ooh. Are we going to sit here and take that from Whitey Locks? Whitey Locks just told us black men are not dependable.
Well, that's what black women think.
Again, Dr. Goulston. Okay, let me break this down again. It goes back to the woman. Okay, a community is only as strong as its woman. How can black men be dependable when they don't get us pussy? That's the part of the puzzle nobody wants to talk about. Okay?
I mean, but are we reduced to just
Men only do what gets them laid. Men only do what get us laid. Okay?
Wow.
Being an asshole is getting us laid. But it could have stopped getting us laid. Being a good dude don't get no ass until you're like intimate.
Okay, listen. James.
James,
you gonna stay with us?
Huh?
You gonna be able to stay with us for a few minutes?
Yeah.
Okay, listen. I gotta take a quick break because we're about to bring in an educated sister. We're about to take a quick break. When I come back, we're going to introduce our next guest. Zoe What Mornings. We'll be back at 2.2. Everybody loves her.
I'm ready. I'm going to tell you something.
Oh, I guess we're on. Jesus. I'm sorry.
I want to cry. I want to be there. I'm going to cry.
Ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, I'm just going to bring her right in. The author of the new book, Murmurs of a Mad Woman, an unconventional memoir.
Wow.
Thea Monyee. She's just joined the Zoe What Morning Show. Y'all got to get a book.
I have no idea what I'm.
Oh yeah, you jumped into a firestorm.
Yeah, but she ready.
I'm ready.
Yeah. But if you're not knowing,
she's deep.
HBO, BET, TV One, NAACP, all types of smartness and artistry and
got
smartness.
The artsy bag over her shoulders.
Yes.
Oranges and grenades.
This one's actually kind of nice.
That's Erykah Badu is the knockoff Thea.
Yes.
Right? I mean, I'm just, no disrespect to her.
Mm-hmm. Shout out to Erykah Badu.
Shout out. But she's dope. Thea Monyee, very dope. Murmurs of a Mad Woman. Very nicely titled. I love it.
I thought you'd appreciate that.
Yes, indeed. No, she's a genius, and this is why we have her on the show.
Okay, if I may say,
yes.
Since we're on the subject, okay, why don't two black people like you ever get together and make a fuck buddy baby? Now that's a nice baby. Look at her face. All right, please give her face. That's what it's about. I'm just saying. If you're gonna make a baby, if I was gonna make a baby on some Hitler shit, I would get Zoe and mate Zoe with you, because that baby is gonna come out a ball of bright light. Just a ball of bright light.
That baby would argue with itself. Like constantly, like...
No, that's where you two come in. You balance arguments and make a genius that discovers the cure for cancer and colonizes Mars at the same time.
Oh, God. Colonizes Mars.
James Hanna, if you're still on with me,
that's sinister.
Just understand, James, that I briefed Thea on what you were saying in terms of black women and their priority when they go to college. You were saying they're going to get that education to prove that they don't need a man, as opposed to white women are going there to find their dream person, their husband or whoever. And we have a woman here. Maybe she can shed some light. Go ahead and please catch her up to speed on the point you were making, James.
About how I blame sisters because they keep fucking no good too.
He said he blames sisters.
These fucking sob stories. They don't just fuck them, they want them. That's what they want. They want sorry ass niggas, and this is the result. They want these dudes, these thugs. They want dudes that are dangerous. They want dudes they got to gamble on. And they keep having unprotected sex with these type of niggas. Niggas they know don't even love them. And here's the thing, is if you have a baby, this is black man's big weakness in this parenting thing. Is if a black man don't love a woman, he's not going to love the child.
Yeah.
And that's what's going on in our community.
Is that...
If you get pregnant with a dude you only fucking, he's going to resent you and the child. He's not going to, that child is not going to get the 100% father that he deserves. And I blame women for that because you chose to get pregnant by that nigga.
Okay.
Now you think more comedy. You think I'm fucking the thug and unprotected, but no, you got pregnant by that dude, and then you gambled, and now the child has to pay for it.
But okay, now you've briefed Thea on what you were saying. Thea, do you agree or disagree?
Are these my only two choices?
That's all you have.
I mean, if those are our only two choices, then I disagree, but with conditions.
Yes,
please find a way to give myself a third option. Because I am a person, I am a woman who holds women very accountable for their choices and for the choices and mistakes that they make, because I feel like if you don't own your shadow, you can't own your light. If you don't take responsibility for what you destroy, you can't take responsibility or enjoy what you create. So I'm definitely a person who feels there's a strong sense of personal responsibility attached to those types of situations. However, I guess the tone of what Geoff, is it Geoff?
No, that's
James.
James, I'm sorry. I'm late. The tone of what James is saying it feels very angry and bitter, and so the message is hard for me to receive.
But see, wait a minute. Let me finish.
It's hard for me to receive because it implies, if we're going to have a discussion about it, then saying you got pregnant by that whatever is really illogical, considering two people get a person pregnant. So that argument already is a little, because he also did not wear protection, and so
he's responsible for his own protection.
Right, he's responsible for that. There's always options there. So I feel like, I guess, the conversation, if you want to have a conversation, or if you want to move the conversation about fatherhood forward, it can't come from a place that sounds like it's blaming one parent for something that two parents contributed to. Also, I think you have to look at fatherlessness as a cycle, because a woman who hasn't dealt with the loss or the absence of her own father is more prone to find a man who in some way subconsciously represents her father, and if she can try to get that man to stay, that will somehow repair the loss that the original loss. So there's a lot of unresolved things here, but I think the conversation would have to happen from a more loving place.
Okay, so look, Geoff and James, because Geoff and James both want to say something right now. So I'm going to go with Geoff first, and then the doc, and then James.
Okay, I absolutely 512% agree with James, but I'm going to try to do this more lovingly.
Okay.
From a simple question answer point.
Okay.
Anytime that you lay down with a man, the concept of procreation is there, whether this is recreation or not. Can we agree?
As well.
We're definitely wrecking creation, but
yes, yes, exactly. No. I'm talking about to the woman, the egg holder, the one with the eggs. Anytime you lay down with a dude, there's a chance that this dude could get you pregnant. Yes or no?
Yes.
Okay. With that chance in mind, if we're going to have recreational sex, and I know that this dude, I'm not telling you not to only screw the dude you're going to be with forever, but you know that this dude is not a dude that you want to be with forever, or that you want to make a carbon copy of. Almost like jumping out of an airplane. I can hit the ground really hard, and I don't want to do that. So I'm going to wear a parachute. I'm going to make sure that the map says I'm going to land here. Is any of that land here, since the baby lands here, the responsibility, although for both, basically lands here?
Well, no, I agree. Listen, I think when I empower women around these subjects, it's at the end of the day, the man can walk away. So even though the responsibility should be equal, ultimately it lands with the woman, right? However, I definitely feel like there's a sense of irresponsibility that comes into play if the discussion is, I really think, since we look at men as the ones who are able to have more recreational sex, and that's more socially acceptable for them to be able to engage in that, if you thought of every woman or random chick that you took home as the mother of your child, would you not have pulled out that condom? Right. I mean, there's so many men caught up in chissup, which is child support, but it's like chissup when it comes out the check. Chissup situations, custody situations, DCFS situations, can't move on to a new relationship, can't have a new girlfriend, that's getting wrecked by ex because they did not take a precaution to say that the person I'm laying down with, I could be procreating with. So there has to be a balanced conversation about this, even though I agree, ultimately women, I feel like if I'm going to talk to women about it, I'm going to tell them from the perspective of, look, at the end of the day, he can walk away. And that will be you. You know, I run into mothers all the time who are working really hard, or sometimes their child has special needs, and the dad is nowhere to be found. He does not have to deal with the day-to-day of that. And that is the burden of a woman to bear as a life creator. However, I do feel like men were also created to be a part of that safe space and that environment through which a child can be raised safely. We've talked about it before. Mothers and fathers create a balance for a child. There's not a mother can't bring what a father can't bring what a mother can. They can do their best to supplement it through their community, but both are necessary.
Absolutely.
So I the same thing you're saying that women should be thinking, I really strongly feel too, men should be thinking so that that safe space is created.
Dr. Goulston.
I always come at these from a different angle. I think one of the things that we have to talk about is people are attracted to sizzle, not steak, and sizzle is not good at keeping a commitment of raising kids.
Wow.
And that's just in human nature. We're drawn to what sizzles. It captures our attention, captures our passion. But you said you came up with something. It would be interesting if any young black woman who's contemplating having sex, it would be really interesting to ask her, are you ready to raise a baby alone without the help of anyone, including your family? Are you ready to do that? And maybe even introduce her to young girls of her own age who are doing that. And just think, if you are ready to do that,
then proceed.
You don't think they know these girls already?
She probably out the club because she ain't got a baby yet.
Yeah,
is that what it is?
Big Mama's at the club. Big Mama's at. I had that happened to me at the Improv. That this you could yes, you could look at this chick and tell she was the shit in 1981, and she was just desperately trying to hold on to it, and she was being loud, and I had to hit her with, you know what, you shouldn't be here right now. I know you have some grandkids. You should be somewhere making cookies and saying, "Son, I am." Green eggs and ham. That's what you're supposed to be. You're not supposed to be here with us. But that's the problem. Is that the mold, the model of what a woman is supposed to be to a child has been so twisted and so distorted. And this is not to take away from males. I'm telling my sons when they get old enough, okay? Get out of your mind the concept of and forgive the graphic.
It's coming.
Getting pussy. That's not what you're doing. You're giving out dick is what you're doing. And you really need to be far more exclusive about what battle zone you sending your soldiers into. Okay? You're sticking your dick in crazy, dude. Don't do that. Don't do it. You can see crazy, and crazy cooter is great, by the way. We've had that. I get that. But you have got to understand.
It's alluring.
It's alluring. You sending your soldiers over into what you think is a regular patrol, and they going into hell. They going into Vietnam.
Right.
You need to prepare your soldiers for Vietnam by covering them. James Hanna?
Okay.
James.
I don't even know where to start. I still blame the witness. What's the sister's name?
Thea Monyee.
Because here's the thing that women don't do. Y'all have no responsibility, no accountability for your own actions. These girls doing this shit. These are grown women. What they do, they pick these. Here's where all the funny babies are coming from. It's a girl at the club. She's kicking. She sees some nigga named Day in the VIP. Day got champagne popping with his homies. He's wearing nice clothes, got $1,000 Pelly jacket on, and Day, there's nothing about Day that says he's a good man, but he's flashy. So, up and gives Day a shot. Dance, kick it, have a good time drinking that champagne in the VIP section. And the girl gives Day her number. The girl gives Day her number. Her girl goes, "What the fuck you giving him that number for?" You know, "Oh, girl, I know he a thug. I'm just gonna play with him for a little while." So then what happens is, she gives Day stuff. And that dick got you shaking like a newborn giraffe. I think, now you put girls and shit for a dude only supposed to be played with. Hey, you choose this daddy, you get this nigga job back, you get caught up, next thing you know, you're pregnant. And now you're pregnant by a dude, again, you was only supposed to be playing with. And the next thing you know, you got a little daddy running around who has a daddy that calls him, "Hey, little nigga." So that's the fucking problem. Millions and millions of these kids are running around, and we got to account for them. But women don't want to hear that shit. They don't want to hear that. They don't want to hear that basically men become to fuck. That's why we got all these shit dudes out here. Because that's the only way they can, because women don't want to fuck good guys. Women control everything. Pussy controls the world. You can change men overnight if you only fuck good dudes.
Just raise the vagina, bro.
Okay, so James.
If women, I'm done. If women got together tonight and said, we are only fucking pirates, do you know at the club on Friday night, niggas will be there with an eye patch and a fucking parrot on their shoulder? Get up late. Women don't act like this is about shit about pussy. Y'all want to act like pussy is all that. If pussy is all powerful, but then when pussy leaves you in a bad direction, you take no responsibility.
I think that it's. I don't personally operate in absolutes, and I don't personally look at microcosms of people and say this is what it is. You know, a couple of days ago, I was sitting with a mother who has a special needs child because that child was abused by the father while this mother was at work, and now she's home every day on a fixed income with a child who is not mobile, who blinks in response to things, taking care of that kid while the dad is gone. So the women, I don't come into contact with only, you know, booty shaking women who are chasing fast men. Like, that's just not the women I've completely come into contact with.
Right.
The women, like a lot of women I come into contact with were women who did not have fathers, who did not have a standard set for them. So let's take a second to discuss the role of what fathers do for women, which is they set a standard, right? And as you get older, when you become a woman, they create a space, a safe space for what? Women to come in and fill that space. You know, women create the heart and the emotion, and they fill in the space, but the safety and the security of that space is provided by the men that they're with. If you have a father that was not present to do that and did not set a standard for what that should look like, and you get older and you're trying to figure out what that looks like, because fathers teach us the world. You know, my dad taught me how to operate in the world. I would be in the world. My mom said, this is who you are.
That is blazingly
But my dad said, this is who you are in the world. And that is important. And that standard is not set. And so we can't just look at what's happening today. We have to look at something that started decades ago. We have to look at something that started with certain other systemic things put in place that put fathers out the home.
Absolutely. And
how that has brought us to today. I think I hear James, but the focus on today's women and the sort of, you know, reality television women chasing this and getting burnt. I agree. That makes me upset as well. However, I know that the everyday women that I see and deal with and come into contact with, whether it's through therapy or through working with foster care, these different practices, that's not what I see. That's not who I felt. Because they're not living lavish. They're not getting a check. Most of them are too proud to even go down there and apply for the daggone child support check.
I kind of like absolutes. That's where we differ.
Yeah, I don't.
Absolutes kind of work for me.
Yeah, I don't.
I absolutely do not trust males over 30 that sag. I absolutely do not trust white men that I don't get to know. These are absolutes that work for me. Why did you point at the doc? Because I know the doc. I trust him. He was basically saying, you got to from the first day I met you, you had to earn that trust. And any white person who has a problem with that needs to watch the History Channel. Now, what I'm getting at with what you're saying about women and how it is a twofold problem, I do not disagree with you. Absolutely. Welfare being instilled and going, look, we'll give you some money if you get rid of your man. I understand that. Where we are now, how do we fix that?
Right.
And I am saying, kind of in the vein of what James is saying, although the bar is low for you because your father is not around, the bar is low for you because of your circumstance, you are going to have to grab the bar and raise it. That is like
that cannot be done without the support of men.
I'm almost done.
So if you and James, were supportive and said, look, women, look, we see your power. You've forgotten your power. You've forgotten who you are. If you were with me at a conference, if you were with me at a conference, or dealing with other women who were doing that, that's a different message. I think when women shut down is when they hear James, because and I appreciate James, but again, it's all about, do you really want this message to get through to who you're talking to? And if so, then you don't change the message, but you change the package that it comes in. And if I feel attacked, then I'm not listening. And that's for men too. If I'm attacking men, you shouldn't listen to me because I'm not approaching you appropriately. So my thing is, if the message you and James are saying is, women, you are powerful and you are letting men get over, and you don't need to do that. You need to remember who you are so that we can raise these children. Great. Then what you do is you partner with women who are trying to get that message out there and who are doing it, and you move it forward. But sort of discussing it outside of the experience with absolutes, I don't think it's going to make that change.
You absolutely must raise a vagina bar. It absolutely must be raised. It's too easy to get laid.
Right.
Okay, well, let's start there.
Can't do a damn thing about that.
Mm-hmm. So let's start there. What does it mean to raise the vagina bar?
I'm not going to fuck you because you got 26s on your truck. You do not get to have...
But is that woman in the minority or the majority of women?
Dude, I am telling you.
And that's what I'm saying. I think they're dealing with a faction of women and then making that...
Let's get algebraic. Let's get algebraic with it. Let's take it away from that. And this actually happened to me. Mm-hmm. I had a one-night stand with a girl one time. Mm-hmm. And we had left my car at the club, and I wanted to go get us breakfast because I really dug this girl. Mm-hmm. I said, let me take your car. I'm going to run down to Denny's. She said, no. I said, back up. Your vagina is the gateway from, and I'm going to tell you, to heaven, because it was fantastic. Mm-hmm. You will let me have some vajayjay, but not let me use your car. Mm-hmm. Your priorities are fucked up. I'm taking a cab.
But is that the minority or the majority of women?
You told your son not to do. You gave away.
How do you think I know how to tell him? How do you think I know that was a mistake?
Right. So that it was a mutual mistake.
No, absolutely. No, not her. That was my mistake.
Right.
So the concept of a one-night stand for a young dude is a mistake, in my opinion. Okay, I am owning that. Yes, I am owning that.
Because I'm gonna come back and ask the same question that I asked for the women: is that the minority or the majority? I think the majority of men would see a one-night stand as yes,
a rite of passage.
Oh, right. Like, hey, you haven't had one of those?
Believe me, that's the other thing women don't get is that any vagina we get is in the W column. If you don't get shot at or you don't get an STD, then we put in the W column. Okay? What I'm getting at is that it may not be 26s. It may not be shiny shit. It may be he's an accountant. He's a lawyer. Right. He can provide for me. But he's a fucking soulless asshole. And you don't take the time to see the hole in his soul before you let him get to your soul. So 26s was just a candy metaphor.
Right.
Okay? It could be whatever women are putting in that social place that makes them bypass the intuition that they have. Right. This thing that no dude...
So maybe that's a better question for Thea, because we have to allow the female voice here. How...
And what a great one.
Yes, she's awesome. That's why we have her here. If we could put a number on it, a percentage, how many women in the percentile do you think ignore their intuition with regards to relationships?
I think a tremendous amount. I think one of my favorite, I think I've said it here. I tell women, I teach women's workshop, and I tell them, never underestimate a woman's power to delude herself. She can create whatever reality she wants. And I don't disagree with you. I always think in terms of effectiveness, you know? So when I'm hearing something, hearing conversation, I'm thinking, okay, so if that's the goal, then what's the most effective way to make that happen? And I think you in a room with women, you know, not necessarily doing comedy, but like, listen, I care. I'm tired of seeing female friends hurt. I'm tired of seeing women in these situations. I care. And so I'm going to let you in on some of the tricks of the trade. I'm going to let you know what men are really thinking because I care. That's a different message, I think. And I think it's great. I would love to sit in a room with you and some women. I've
been chased to my car.
But you know what? You know what's interesting, Thea? And I think that's an excellent angle to come from. And we've tried to do it from a comedy space, from a mentoring space, and even from just a shit-talking space. You know, all of this stuff kind of melded together. And you're right about tone and delivery. How it's delivered can affect a person's reception of that information. Totally agree with you 100%. However, when you do it the right way, and it's still shot down because it makes, and this is for men and women, it makes them face a part of themselves that they've been running from a long, long time. So the truth now becomes an enemy.
Yeah, it triggers a defense mechanism.
Or how you present it to them. It doesn't matter. You can say it in the nicest way, in the best tone. If that's not something they're willing to face down, now you're an enemy. Because it happens from child to parent.
Absolutely.
A parent could come to you and to a child and say, listen, for your own good, I'm telling you, the road you're on is going to end up here. How I know is because I lived it, and I'm watching the steps you're taking, and your feet are fitting these footprints that lead here.
Yeah, and
they can't do it.
Focus. This is exactly right. When you say the truth, different defense mechanisms go up. One of the things I also tell the women in my workshop is when you feel the urge to contract, I want you to take a deep breath and expand, because that means something just got triggered. And that's a good thing. That's a good thing. That means there's something we're about to touch on, we're about to work through,
that you need fixed.
But your instinct is going to be to do this. And I tell them, take a deep breath, stretch your arms out, and ask to be expanded. So I think I agree. And the other thing, though, is if we are taking this message out to people, that's okay. If 10% of the room is defensive and shuts down, that's okay.
Great.
They let
That's a cute number, but it's usually
even if it's more. You did your part. You got it out there. And seeds are always planted, even if it may not sprout for 6 months, a year, 2 years. They'll remember. I remember being at things where I was like, nah, man, I ain't even, what you talking about? And then like 2 years later, like, oh my God, everything she said made perfect sense. So you did your part as a man to go out there and get this message out there. You said it, you dropped the seed, and you leave it without the expectation that the person's just gonna.
So hold on, I have a question for everyone.
Okay.
And I think this is part of the message that needs to get out there. James, Hannah, I want you in on this too. And we're going to start with James. We're going to go to the doc, Geoff, and then Thea. Are women in control of relationships? I think that's the question that needs to, and that's the message that needs to go out. Because I think a lot of times women find themselves doing things, placating, behaving, participating in a way that's really beneath their station.
Yeah.
So I'm going to go with James, Hannah, then the doc. James, answer that for me in 30 seconds.
Women are absolutely in control of the situation once they're in the relationship. Within the relationship, they are in control. Now, when they're not in a relationship and they're trying out for the job, we're in control.
That's a good point. Thank you. Doc?
I always come at this from a different way.
Oh, I love it. That's why you're here.
What's in control of relationships is people's irresistible impulses. And so the idea, I'd like to ask everybody, including you, James, just to answer this. And by the way, this is a great thing to ask your kids. What are you willing to commit to and stay committed to that you don't want to do but will make your future better? I mean, that's a real tough and good question, because I think our impulse here, because this is radio, is let's rant and rave about the problem. What is all of our willingness to stay committed to a solution that is inconvenient, that we don't want to do? That means we can't do something. We don't want to do that.
Anything inconvenient in this high-speed, high-paced, technologically advanced society is a problem. And that's a great question.
Until we find a way, and this is all of our responsibility, until we find a way to make resisting an impulse feel better than giving into it, we are all essentially screwed.
Wow. That's good. That's good stuff. Geoff, go ahead.
Okay, I'm going to follow that bullshit with this bullshit I wrote down.
You firecracker as well?
Yeah. No. At least in my relationship with my wife, I am the locomotive. Okay, she doesn't get out on the tracks and go like this. She lays the tracks where she wants the train to go. So it doesn't take. And you know, knock on wood, we've been together going on 5 years. We've never had an argument. We have disagreements, and it's usually stem from some ignorant shit I'm doing. But she knows exactly. The best way to put it is my big fat Greek wedding. I've been married to your father for 45 years. He is the head of this family, but I am the neck, and I can turn that head whichever way I want to. And I think that women kind of they throw away that power. They throw away.
Wait a minute. That power is innate, but they still need to learn how to use it, right?
Oh, absolutely. Oh, it needs to be used, but it also not only learning how to use it, but acknowledging it and putting it in the right light. Meaning, if you were a dude who can deal with on a regular basis on some I don't give a fuck about your feelings, you with the wrong dude. Purely, dude, I clean my kitchen when I'm at home. Not because it's supposed to be clean. Not because my wife gonna bitch at me when she get home. My wife likes a clean kitchen, and it disappoints her when she comes home and there's dishes in the sink.
It makes her happy.
It makes her happy. Now, if you were the dude that don't give a fuck about your happiness, now you in some shit that you need to be out of.
Thea?
I always explain it to people as men are the head and women are the heart. And you need both organs. You need both. You need your brain and you need your heart. And they have different roles. And the difficulty comes in when you cross roles, when you don't support your partner in their role and they don't support you in yours. But I will say the power a woman has a different effect, and it can be a stronger effect. I don't know if I've ever mentioned it to you, but I kind of did this experiment with my family one time where I woke up one day in a great mood and, you know, made everything their favorite.
And everybody was in the building.
So happy.
Yes.
There was sunshine in the house.
I got up and I was real stank, you know, don't talk to me, and they started off happy and they dropped like flies throughout the day, right?
Wow.
Now, and I realized daddy can have a certain emotion, but it stays with daddy.
Yes.
And mommy has an emotion and it emotes through it permeates the entire home. And so that's the power that we forget. And I must say, like every woman I work with, I'm very tough on, tougher than most people would imagine. And Zoe said that's one of the things, you know,
I love about her, yes.
Because the power, the Bible says, a wise woman builds her house, a foolish woman rips it down with her own hands. I think of that
Proverbs,
all the time because that's a power. And so I tell the women that is your power. You're either creating or destroying at all times. But I think
but what happens if you're a young girl who's raised in the home by a woman who hasn't learned, but she's a destroyer?
Yeah.
And this is where we get the transgenerational unforgiveness that plagues the black community.
Yeah.
And this is why I've been saying this for the last few shows that I've been on. Blacks in America, we don't have the space to even be human with one another. Because to be human is to error. We can't make mistakes in our relationships with each other. Because forgiveness is a luxury we can't afford, we don't have. Now, the reason being is because we live in a society that has culturalized us to view ourselves as victims. It's culturalized us or socialized us to view ourselves as, you know, we don't have any power. Like, we can't yell at the system because we owe them $80,000 in school loans and we can't get our transcripts to prove that we earned that degree. So we can't go protest that. But we can protest to our mate. You see what I'm saying? We can protest to our husband or our wife. If something happens to us, we can't go protest the child support system. We might yell and bitch and complain, but at the end of the day, we're gonna send we're gonna put in a warrant on you because you still owe money, or we're gonna suspend your license. We can't go fight that monolithic system, but who we can fight, where we do have a monochrome of power, is attacking each other. And that's the kind of system we're in. Like I said, that's why relationships suffer, is because the only power we exhibit is in attacking each other.
As opposed to supporting. Like, I think there's such beauty in saying, you know, you are the head, and I want to support you being the best you can be, and you give me the room to be the heart, because that's what I'm naturally designed to be, and that's what I want to be, and you support that. I think we've just forgotten those roles. I think they've gotten really, we've talked about it, you know, with absent fathers, absent men, absent income, absent, it's become, the black woman had to become the head. She had to be in a lot of ways, and does not know how to relinquish that.
And that's what James Hanna says when he talked about our sisters are going to school to prove that she doesn't need a man. And in a lot of ways, that's true.
I think that, as somebody who went to school, I did it while with someone, and they were very supportive. But I also feel like the driving force is not that I don't necessarily need a man; it's that I may not have one. There's a chance that at a certain point, if anything goes down, I got this. You know, if he loses his job, if he disappears one day, I got this. I can hold it down. As opposed to, like, I don't need him. But that does sort of, for the man who's used to being in that provider head role, feel like you have a backup plan because you doubt me and whether or not I'll be here. That can be a mixed message, and it's a hard thing to overcome.
So do this with me. Put that thought in juxtaposition to the law of attraction concept. Are we now? Is she now
attracting a man,
creating this
without realizing it
and perpetuating it? And you understand what I mean?
Yes, I mean, like, for me, when I went to get my master's, I was working with families that had a lot of need, and I wanted to get more involved. And I needed more information and more skills to do that. And that was like the driving force. I wanted to just not do covers. I wanted to really go in. But I do feel like our parents push us a little further, or society pushes us further for that safety net, just in case, you know. I do think that does play into the law of attraction, whether or not you are, it's a very subconscious and subtle message that we're receiving, that, you know, be prepared for him to leave, be prepared, that abandonment stuff comes up. And there's always the preparation, so there's always, like, so you don't have to beg him to come back, and you won't be out in the street looking for this man, and you won't be looking crazy. Because there's the woman you talked about who's, like, you know, single and out, you know, she has her kids and she should be home, and there's that. But there's also the woman who's, like, total fear of depending on a man. And, you know, so she's super successful just so she never has to have that feeling. But that's again a power issue.
But is she not, in a way, handicapped because of that prevailing thought process?
Yeah, I think so, because I think it prevents a certain type of intimacy.
Beautiful stuff.
I think it prevents a certain type of intimacy.
This is beautiful stuff. And this is why we have these kind of conversations, because I want people to not only hear what we're saying, but put what we're saying side by side with what you've been thinking for however many years, and then look at the state of your relationship and say, oh, this is why we're here, this is why maybe we're experiencing these kind of things. Not to say, oh, we're right and we're perfect. I mean, I'm not judging you, because I'm always being judged, so I try not to judge people.
Yeah, sit up straight.
See what I mean? I'm slouching right now. But let me hit it another way. There's a religious component that puts women in a bind too, right? You know, because, like I said, I think the Renaissance woman of today, who's highly educated and can pay for anything, she doesn't need a man for all of these things. I think she puts herself in a kind of in a bind when she goes to seek the traditional man, because the traditional man may not want his woman to be so mouthy intellectually, may not want his woman to be able to say, I don't need you for anything. Do you understand? Those two areas right there may create conflict in a relationship if she still has the belief that she needs a traditional man. Do you understand?
How do you deal with this? Let me throw this out, because I think if you really believe from your past experience that you can't depend on someone, can't depend on a man, and men are undependable, you're going to give out certain vibes.
Yes.
And the vibe you're going to be, now maybe the man will like a challenge and prove that he's dependable until he has you, and then prove and show you he's not dependable. But so that's a certain kind of vibe. And then the other side is, well, when you want to depend on a man, which means you want to be able to rely on him so that when he says something about the future, he does it without you having to nag him. And he begins to feel that when you are depending on him, you're pressuring him, you're cornering him. Is there any way in between? Because I think those are opposites, and I don't know what the space is in between, because I see women that when they begin to depend on a man, what they're often looking to do with the man is build a future together, and often that means having to leverage the man to build that future. And a lot of men feel pressured, and they feel leveraged, and they feel used as a tool. And the point is, I think people use each other. And I don't think there's anything wrong with it as long as you're up and up about it. So I think traditionally a man was a tool that women would use to get more access to the world. Now that's changing, and I think men would use women to get access to themselves. Because men do not know how to connect to themselves or other people.
Absolutely.
And that was a great trade-off. But things are all changed.
They're different now.
But going back to that question, though, if your only choice is I act like I can't depend on them, you'll be like everyone else, that sends out a negative vibe. And then if you feel, well, if I start to depend on them, they feel pressure and they say, hey, back off already.
Yeah.
And the vibe is creative. Let's never forget that.
Always. I think, personally,
with my perfect self.
No. I've had
But you're a mad woman. What do you?
I know. This is something that I've learned, and with my boyfriend in my current relationship, is I've learned that I have to surrender some of that coping of not being in charge. I've had to, if I wanted him to be the type of man I could depend on, I had to leave a space open for him to demonstrate without me intervening or manipulating that he was that man. And one of the things I did was I was very clear about that. I said, boo, I got issues around. You told the truth? I told the absolute truth. I said, you about to walk into a bunch of landmines, because I was raised, you keep a stash of money in case you got to run. You keep a separate account. I was raised very much like you protect your interests, you keep them separate, and you just protect yourself. Using money, using finances, money is access to get out, to escape, to do whatever, to rebuild, everything. So this was very dangerous territory for me entering into that phase with my relationship. And I said, this for me is probably the hallmark of intimacy. If I can surrender this, then we have some good intimacy. Because some people, I can talk about emotions all day. I know how to recover from certain things emotionally, but financially, or, that is a different ballgame. That is, and those women you're talking about, that is, and so, we've had to be open, like, well, I feel like you're putting everything on me, or versus, I feel like this is, we had to just be open. Like I said, when we felt like contracting, we had to say to each other, expand. Expand. This is good stuff, So I think being clear, and here's the problem, hopefully having this conversation like we're having now makes women aware that they may be like me. They may contract anytime the topic of money comes up with the man. Why you want to know? Why you need to know that? If they feel that, then it's something that is blocking intimacy, and it's something that is blocking the connection.
But this is why I say, women, you guys, you have the power
Yeah.
All of what you just said just validated everything we were
You still have to
talking
be wise about it. Like, I had to know the character. One of the things you said was very important it was an important factor on whether or not I could do this with this man, was that I could tell him something was bothering me, or this was a concern for me, and historically throughout the relationship, I would only have to tell him that one time. I would set that bar. I would say, in this situation, I feel like this, and here's the bar, and then he would say, all right, okay, so I know it, because once he was clear where the bar was, he knew what he had to do to get to it, and so he did it. I didn't have, now, if you set the bar, and it's been 3-4 times, that ain't okay. You can't go there.
I don't know.
3-4 times. That's why you don't know. But really, if I say...
No, I get it. I have a 16-year-old son, and I have an 11-year-old son. And my 16-year-old's mother always says, why do I have to tell him so many times to do this, to do that?
He's still young, though.
There are men who are like this.
Absolutely.
We're like this. It doesn't mean we don't care about what you're saying. It just means that we don't value it to that degree.
Exactly. And so here's the thing.
And then when it gets to a point of, hey, I said, okay.
Just because I don't care doesn't mean I don't understand.
Yeah, and I think what was important to me was it wouldn't be anything like arbitrary, like the trash and stuff like that, but something really an emotional thing for me or whatever. If I said, look, this makes me feel unsafe, this makes me feel uncomfortable.
Unsafe.
Yeah, I'm definitely unsafe. Unsafe is a great word, particularly with women, because things that make a woman feel unsafe are like your big trigger points. And so if I said, this makes me feel unsafe, what can we do about this? Or here's what I need you to do about this. And that was clear. But again, that was fair, because then he wasn't searching in the dark for some nebulous, that he couldn't find. I told him exactly how to find it, and then he followed through. So then when it came time for me to open up financially and about intimacy, I could, because the history was there. It wasn't just Ray and them. And I just access him.
Let the dog
Can I throw out a tip? And I want to ask the three of you how you would respond if you heard this. This came from a friend of mine who's very happily married. It's his third marriage, but he's learned from his first two. And his wife's on her second marriage. And this is, I said, what's the secret of this? And he said, knowing that we can both destroy relationships. And what he came up with, so I'll read it to you. So if someone said this to you, tell me if you think it's just too highfalutin or too intellectual. He said, what rules, so this is what you'd say to your partner, or your kid, what rules can we both follow that will prevent a difference of opinion from escalating further than a disagreement into an argument, into a fight, into a war, into it all being over. And so what they did is they came up with rules so that the different get to a disagreement, but they realized in their past relationships when those disagreements quickly ignited into an argument, a fight, a war, it was game over.
Absolutely.
And so they didn't want to destroy this, and they realized that when they're angry or they're hurt, they have the potential to say destructive things that they don't mean, but can't be taken back.
Absolutely. Can't get it back.
So if someone said that to you, I mean, is that too high for you?
No, I love it. I love it. I think people need roadmaps sometimes. I think when we first start off in relationships, we're so like lofty about it. We think like some magical dust comes over us and we figure it all out, and that's not it. Like everybody, there's no playbook. We get playbooks by messing things up and by learning from them, So I think learning ahead of time, like, okay, we've learned from this, and this is what we found, and this is what could work. And the more clear, the more those conversations happen up front, I've learned to look at those moments as, okay, we can grow from this. This is an opportunity to grow, because whenever you can't have no arguments either. I've done that.
Would you say
that's crazy?
That's resentment.
Thea, would you say the growing is the magic?
Yes, I think having someone you can grow with is magic.
That's the magic, and I think the blueprint that is created from the bones of your mistakes actually brings the relationship down, because those mistakes and those blueprints are born out of what's wrong. And now there's this natural kind of tendency to look for those key, this isn't right, or this isn't right. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, I think people extract the wrong lessons from their mistakes.
Yes.
They extract certain absence. I would never date this kind. It may not have been that. Look, what is the real lesson in that situation? And they extract the wrong thing, the more defensive thing, the thing that leads them to contract, the thing that gives them this long list of I will nevers, as opposed to the
I will nevers. I think the I will nevers, that is the curriculum for you healing yourself, which is why you experienced it in the first place. And then you turn the curriculum into the enemy. I will never do this, I will never do that, I will never do that. And then you're still drawing it to you energetically because you didn't get the lesson in the first place. Like you say, you got the wrong lesson from
the wrong thing from it.
Geoff?
I think for me, it's about awareness of triggers from things that have happened in my past. I am aware that this triggers this feeling in me.
And you communicate.
I'm going to tell you that this is what triggers this. This is what makes me feel this way. And when we get upset about any particular thing, this is what has to happen. And I think for me personally, I love to please. I love to please my mate. And nothing makes, I tell women this all the time, the greatest way to make a man feel useless is to give him a bunch of shit he can't fix. That's what your girlfriend's is for. Stuff you give this dude stuff he can fix.
Yes.
And
that's good.
The other thing that was on my mind earlier was two people are in a relationship. If there is a leader, one of you says 4 + 3 = 7. The other one says 6 + 1 = 7. Who's right? Both. No. The leader. The leader's right.
Oh, Jesus.
The leader's
Does
right.
the battery have a leader?
Does the battery have a leader?
A battery doesn't have a leader.
If anything negative, but yeah.
It doesn't. It's a device that has a function that powers shit. There's the negative side is in concert with the positive side.
Okay.
Or the male side is in concert with the feminine side. Now all of the energy comes from the feminine side of the battery. That's where all the power is. However, the masculine side directs it.
Okay.
So the man has to have a philosophy, a concept that the woman can buy into with all of her energy and belief. And then the manifestation of good things will come about.
That's that space.
Okay, it sounds like apples and bowling balls.
That is the space.
But there's no leader there, is what I'm saying.
I think what you're saying is that there are some people who won't step into the unknown. If there's an argument between you, there's some people who won't step into it unless it feels right, and there are other people who won't step into it unless it makes sense. And so a lot of times the person who's trying to make sense of it seems cold and distant, and usually that person just doesn't want to be infected by all the emotion, and they're just trying to protect the space between them, but that person is often seen as cold and aloof. And so if you can realize that the person who's getting emotional is trying to make it so it feels right, so they can step towards you, and if you can realize that the person who's trying to make sense of it is needing to do that so they can step towards you, and like you said, there's a middle ground, then you realize the other who is offending you that's their way of coping with the distance between you.
It's when we talk about coping. To me, that's part of the problem. Coping is the safe haven. It's the blanket. And oftentimes, we want our partner to date our coping mechanism.
Oh, yeah.
As opposed to date me. No. Date this shield, this protective cover, this prophylactic of me. Right. Date that.
You ain't going out with Captain America, you're going out with the shield.
You feel me? And I think therein lies a lot of the problems that happen in relationships, regardless of black and white. Because I believe that old saying, if America is sick, the black community is on its deathbed. I believe in that. So if we're having general relationship conversations, imagine the level it falls to in our community because of all of the social shit that we've had to deal with over 400 or 500 years.
There's nothing better in the black community when compared to the white community other than sports scores. That's it.
And soul food.
And soul food, which can be argued.
Paula Deen learned how to do it, though.
Oh, yeah. I'm done with Paula Deen. I'm done with Paula Deen.
Why?
Because I should be.
Why?
Why?
Yes. Why should you be done with Paula Deen?
Why should I be done with Paula Deen? Simply here. Once
people want to know,
once you make your position clear, regardless to how sugary sweet it is.
I love niggers.
Thank you. Once you make your position clear, and I see who you are, and I opt not to deal with you, I'm through dealing with
But
it.
have black people made our position clear with regards to how we see each other?
No.
Is there not a contradiction? Do we not call each other nigger?
That's
In a hateful way and in a loving way?
apples and bowling balls again.
I'm just saying.
Apples and bowling balls
presenting
again. Okay? I can cuss my brother out. You don't get to do that.
You don't get to
Well, I told my wife this. I told her, I said, my brother's a jackal. Okay? At our wedding. I said, my brother's a jackal. He's a very good looking, very intelligent.
He's a jackal.
If he winds up screwing your sister and we catch him at the wedding, I'm mad at him. I'm cussing his ass out. He got to leave. But your brother-in-law can't put his hands on my brother because it's my brother.
Got you. Now, let's do this. Tell people where they can find you because we have to wrap.
At GB Funny Style is the Twitter. Facebook, Geoff Brown Comedian.
Geoff Brown Comedian. Facebook.
Geoff Brown
How do they
Fan
spell Geoff?
With a G to the E to the OFF.
Geoffrey.
Yes.
Indeed, sir. Thea, new book, website, Twitter. What's
Yes,
up?
the website is www.theamonyee.com. Twitter is Thea Monyee. Facebook is Thea Monyee. I'm also doing Women in the Mic. I have like 6 slots left for women. It's a workshop with an intention every month. It's going to go on for a year. The new group is not starting till January, so if you want one of those 6 slots, you got to hit me up. And Zoe, you would like it. But it's at Vibrations on Manchester, and it's Women in the Mic. It's about removing emotional blockages to your creativity.
Wow. So
Like in Manchester and Crenshaw, between Venice and Crenshaw.
got it. So IamZoeWilliams.com, new website. Go there, participate. Of course, we got shirts. Please support. This is how we keep Rogue Radio cracking. Please just follow us there. IamZoeWilliams.com. I'm on Twitter at Zoe Williams. Just follow us, and I'll give you all types of updates as to what's going on. We really appreciate everybody tuning in, and I'll see you guys tonight on the Corey Holcomb 5150 show. All right? Holla. Deuces.
It is hot.
It is hot.
Sweet Jesus.